thing here. So round one, we're playing. All right, so let's boot it up. Round one, we're playing against Brian Kelly, um, pretty famous vintage player, and he is on what turns out to be some kind of Brian Kelly deck. It's I'm pretty sure it's some kind of three color controlling, might have standstill. I don't really believe we have very long games here, so we'll see. This is the starting hand that I looked at. I think that I threw this away. It is nice to have a Force of Will, but you don't have a turn one library, and you're very, very dependent on this top not being mental misstepped. So if this were to be mental misstep, you probably have to force it. So then you would be going Jet top Opal, force mental misstep, use the Opal and the Opal to play library. Now, I don't remember, so we're gonna see if I'm right. My first instinct is that I mulligan this, but we'll have to find out if I actually did. So if I hit this button, it'll be the next action. All right, cool. So yes, I did mulligan it, and we mulled to a much better hand. This hand has force backup, turn one library. This is a little bit better, and the mana rocks are also better than the other hand. So Brian kept on 7. We kept Scry to Preordain to the. Can I find out where I scried it to? I don't know if I can find out where I scried it to. Doesn't look like it. Okay. We'll find out, I guess. I might have scried it to the top so that I could cast Gataxian Probe and still draw a blue card so that I would have Force of Will backup. Hey, thanks. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. Should be interesting. I'm not sure how interesting, but we're gonna find out. And obviously using this tool is not the easiest. So we'll have to figure out the best ways to do things as we go. So I would assume I scried that preordain to the top, which guarantees that my top card is a blue card for Force of Will, so that lets me use Probe to see what Brian Kelly is playing. Here we see, some Brian Kelly nonsense. Pearl, Flusterstorm, Chalice, Brainstorm, Yogwill. If I had to see this hand in the blind without looking at the nameplate, I definitely would have put my opponent on Paradoxical Outcome. But because it's Brian Kelly, I think it's probably not going to be Paradoxical Outcome. But the big thing to see here is that there's a Chalice, which we need to be aware of, and a Flusterstorm that can't be cast right now, but no Force of Will. So I did keep the Preordain on top, so now I have Force backup. I know there's no mental misstep. If I did see a mental misstep, I wouldn't jam Soul Ring, I would just jam Library. But we saw no mental misstep, so we can just jam all our cards here. We go to Brian's turn. Can I still see the cards I've seen? Awesome, cool. I'll leave those over in the corner. Yes, plays his Mox and his Chalice. We know that the Chalice, and the Pearl are gone. We know that he has Flusterstorm up. Are we going to be able to see our library here? Good. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to see what's in our library, which is kind of awful for VOD review. Oh, wait. No, we do get to see. Awesome. Good job, Wizards. So I probably keep Mentor Walk here, take damage. I might keep them all here just because obviously Brian's not threatening our life total, so we just want to keep getting through magic cards. Let's see what happens. Put the key on top. I'm not sure I like that as of right now, but it's fine. I'm pretty sure we're just going to be time walking and looking again, so. Yeah, I think I would have probably paid the extra 4 life for key if I were to do this again. We'll have to see. I forget. Okay, so I only probably keep one of these fetch lands, and I probably don't even keep this key, so probably reward it. No, I kept the key. I guess I kept the key because it was going to be a Monastery Mentor trigger, which makes sense. Finding out who is better, Just Woken Up Justin or this Justin? Clearly that, Justin. So we get to play a mentor here. We know that it's unlikely that Brian has any kind of counter magic for it. He would have had to draw one of his 3 Force of Wills, right there. Obviously, if he did, we can't beat a Flusterstorm. But if he has to Brainstorm for a Force of Will, we can beat a Force of Will with our own Force of Will. So. Do I have to like click every? I don't want to skip things, but I also don't want to sit here so long clicking this button. Can everyone see everything that they need to see on the VOD? I haven't opened this. Oh, sure, I can change the deck list. Absolutely. I don't know if this is exactly the right Sylvan outcome deck list. Let me see. At the very least, this list is close. Yeah. Yeah. This is close. So I went over it a little bit earlier. Arnsteer. I played the Legacy PTQ as well. I couldn't stream. I can't double queue stream. I don't have that kind of multitasking capabilities. So Brian plays a land that we knew about and passes it back to us. This game should be pretty over at this point, because I suspect it'll be hard for Brian's deck to beat Monastery Mentor. But Brian actually pulls a trick here, which surprised the crap out of me. I don't think it was this turn. I believe it's next turn. It was actually a pretty fun play. I think it's coming up next turn. So I get to cast this, go to my next turn. I'm feeling pretty confident now that I have Force and Flusterstorm. And obviously an active Mentor. So Brian fetches away the cards he brainstormed and reveals Volcanic Island, which was surprising. I didn't know if we would see a Volcanic Island. And here's probably the most interesting play of the match. So Brian waits until we cast something, and then he pulls out the... All right, ready? So I preordain, put all my triggers on the stack. Brian responds by cycling Slice and Dice. So for those of you who don't know, Slice and Dice is 6 mana, deal 4 to each creature. When you cycle it, deal 1 to each creature. This is not going to stop me. Obviously, my Mentor isn't going to die. But it is going to slow down my progress. And so what I do is I respond by Flusterstorming my own Preordain and then paying for it. This saves all of my monks that are in play and is going to make I'm probably going to win the game because my Preordain is going to draw me into another Moxen and it's going to put lethal. So, is that necessary? Maybe not, but certainly increases the speed of this game. So that's game 1. So if I close this and I go here, okay, cool. So now we're on to game 2. Oh, I don't want to play. This is our 7. Sapphire, Soul Ring. We have a repeal that we could cycle our Sapphire with. I would be surprised if I kept this hand. Let's see if we did. No, of course not. A little bit greedy and especially weak to Mental Misstep, which I assume is in Brian's deck. Our second hand is much better. Obviously, this hand is very Glass Cannon. It's going to die to 1 piece of disruption, but having 2 Moxen plus a key for a PO that's already in hand is a great start. We'll bottom that Polluted Delta as we already have enough lands to keep going. Brian leads Trop Pass. We draw Time Walk. Most likely, we just slam Time Walk here. Start building up our mana base. Ooh, wow. I went with Key. I feel like going with Key here is incredibly greedy. If I get mental misstepped, it does set me behind a little bit. The real upside to playing Key here is that if we then resolve Time Walk, we PO next turn for 3. I'm actually very surprised I went with Key here. I think that's probably a little greedy, but right now, obviously, Brian's representing something like Flusterstorm, but it would be a little greedy for him to probably Fluster Time Walk. Time Walk is not the most valuable card here. So now I have, because I was able to resolve my Key last turn, I have exactly 4 mana to PO. Obviously, what I'm going to do is not PO into open Flusterstorm. That would be bad. If we were to PO here and get Flusterstormed, we would have nothing going for us. So we're going to try to wait for an opportunity where it's more favorable for us to cast Paradoxical Outcome. Awesome, Gabo. Congrats. So do I jam PO on end step here? I don't believe I did. Let's see if what happens. Nope. I went to my next turn. I also have +2 to Flusterstorm in my deck at this point, so it's pretty powerful to be able to keep waiting. What this does for me, this Mana Crypt draw, is pretty awesome. It actually lets me play around Flusterstorm. The current mana we have is 4. Voltaic Key is 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have a lot of extra mana. I believe what most likely happens is we PO on Brian's upkeep with the ability to pay for Flusterstorm. I could also respond to this fetch here. Responding to the fetch here plays around Pyroblast, which is pretty nice. But Brian plays... What does Brian play here? Does he cycle a Slice and Dice? Oh, he casts a Sulfur Elemental. This is Monastery Mentor tech. Means that I can't have Monastery Mentor tokens. I think I fool around here trying to figure out what Split Second means. But I take this opportunity... because Brian is tapped out with only 3 cards in hand, I take this opportunity to cast PO. I'm obviously going to have to discard a card because I'm going to draw 4 and pick up 4 cards, but I'm sure everyone wants to draw 4 cards, so I think they'll understand. So Brian resolves a Sulfur Elemental. I respond by POing. My patience really pays off there, waiting for an opportunity for my PO to resolve. What I do draw is a whole lot of mana. So, we probably ditch one of these lands. Probably this Misty, as I'm running out of fetchables. This deck is a little low on fetchables, so yeah, the Misty goes. I can't even cast this Force of Will hard cast right now, so we're actually in a pretty vulnerable position. I think we end up taking a couple beatings from this Sulfur Elemental. Classic Brian Kelly Chart, of course, draws 2 because of the attack with Sulfur Elemental. And then he plays his 3rd type of island. So here, I think on my upkeep, I use both of my fetches because I only have 2 fetchables left in the deck. And so I don't want to draw one of them and have one of my fetches turned off. Yeah, Gabo, last night was really fun. And then I am rewarded with a top deck PO. So I believe I play everything out. I get my Voltaic Key misstepped, and then I pass. I don't think I PO. I believe at this point I'm holding up hardcast Force of Will. So Brian's second main phase. Let's see what happens. Yogg-Will. And like, this isn't the most powerful Yogg-Will. He's gonna get to draw 2 and get a land drop. But I think it's a pretty reasonable place to put a Force of Will down. If Brian wants to counter this, I also think that's fine for us. As then we can our PO is gonna resolve. So. And obviously, this would be a case for Brian to use Fluster, as our Fluster is not going to stop a PO. The only thing that's really going to stop a PO at this point is a Pyroblast. So I'm sure I untap and just cast PO here. and it resolves, and then we get Snapcaster Mage and another PO. So we'll do 3, and we'll repeal our Opal to see if we can't draw another Moxen. We draw a Monastery Mentor, which is a little shut off by the Sulfur Elemental, so we don't bother casting it. See me tap white there and then decide, maybe not. I just go for another PO for 3 here. It's mana neutral, which is really nice. And then I believe we play everything out and snap PO. Or snap walk. I can't. It'd probably snap PO. There we go. So here we bait out the rest of his mana. He snaps Misstep on Sensei's top, and seeing that, previously my POs were playing around, you know, some not really playing around, but being mindful of counter magic. At this point, he has 1 card in hand, can't be Force of Will, so we just preordain, looking for another piece of artifact so we can snap PO it. I believe I bought them both. I might keep the Hydra just because I do need a way to win. I don't believe we play the Hydra before this PO. Probably just snap, snap PO here for 5. This is actually going to be snap for 5, and then snap PO again for 5 because we have 2 POs. Brian sees the writing on the wall and concedes. And that is round 1. How long did that take? How long? Can someone do the live? Uptime. Okay, 20 minutes. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay. So, let me just boot this up here. So we beat Brian, and then we're on to Goggles.